Hey everybody, Mind Gamer. So Balls and I yesterday were having a discussion. What is the difference between might, tactical might, resistance, and tactical resistance? Short answer, if you don't want to watch the rest of the video, might has to do with basic attacks, and tactical might has to do with skill attacks. The rest of the video will be hopefully short and explain how we figured out what the difference is. So Biscuit was available yesterday, and we did some tile attacks so we could see the difference. And she so graciously killed a lot of my troops until we finally figured it out. So I used the same APC each time. What we did was 2 attacks and 2 defenses. And we used 2 different APCs each time. So here are those 2 APCs right down here. That was her Vanguard, Farseer, and Countdown, and we only switched out Vanguard for Caesar on the second attack and then second defense. And what we wanted to see was the difference between Vanguard's first skill, where we see there is a 45% increase in combat skill damage. Note that there's also a minus 20 basic attack damage, so there is a little difference there. And Caesar's last skill, where we see the enemy squad's resistance minus 60. So what we would have expected to see if resistance also encompassed not only basic attacks but skill attacks, that means that everybody else, like Countdown, who's the other one? Vanguard, Farseer. Farseer and Countdown's skills would have yielded more damage on their skill attacks with Caesar, but they didn't. And here's the details on how we figured it out. Okay, and here are the 2 attacks and 2 defenses. Yes, I lost badly. And here is my APC setup and hers for the first one. So the first and the third are going to look the same. The second and the fourth are going to look the same. And my APC looks the same every time. We even use the same troop types every time to keep things exactly the same. So truly all we're seeing is the difference between those 2 heroes. The first place I went was here, and surprisingly it really doesn't show anything at all. I thought I would see it in these skills here, but it doesn't. What it tallies up is actually it tallies up the difference between the awakened skills. Here we're seeing that Vanguard has plus 20 might in resistance, while Caesar has plus 15 might in resistance. Their vehicle speed's different too, but we're not looking at that. So that is the only difference that we saw in these unit attributes on this side. It was only those 2, and they're off by like a 5. Oh, there was 5%. So yeah, we just talked about it. That was the only difference. So unfortunately, where we had to go next was the replays. So I had to select a couple that were pretty close to the same. That way you see the same things. Now focus right here on the basic attack, 1812, and then keep that number in mind. Next we're going to be looking at Countdown skill Death Comes, and the basic attack from the front row, and then Death Comes are what we're going to be looking at each time. 6100. And here's the second video. Notice the difference here is we've got Caesar in the front row. We're going to be looking at his basic attack skill, 2434. It's so fast I can barely see it. And then we're going to be waiting on Death Comes from the back row. $5,200. Okay, and we're back here. So those numbers essentially look like this, and they're going to be a little bit different whenever Farseer gets in there and she's landing a couple of skills, and then also she's basic attacking. And so as there's less troops to be hit on my side, the damage is going to look slightly different. But it's both of those are in round 1, and so it's early enough that we can still see the gist of what's going on here. Vanguard's basic attack is 600 lower than Caesar's, and Countdown's Death Comes is a big difference, especially in round 1. So it's a lot higher with Vanguard. And here's what it looks like for the tally. So here is the stats of the first attack. These are just overall stats. We'll go to the third attack, that way you kind of can get an average. This is actually defense on my side. Now this is with the three ladies. Now here's the switch out with Caesar, where we've got the resistance and might lowered on my side. You can actually see it's a lot closer. Hope this helps.